Marion Bergen, co-owner of ACA Galleries, and we're delighted to present Remembering Romy, a panel discussion with Myron Schwartzman, Russell Goings, and Andre Thibault, moderated by Ann Aptaker. We presented this panel in celebration of our exhibition, Urban Rhythms and Dreams of Paradise, which features the earliest collages Bearden ever created, the latest collages, the last collages Bearden ever created, and some of the best collages Bearden created. It's virtually a retrospective from about 1945 through 1988.
And we will share some wonderful reminiscences about Romy. His friends call him Romy. And there's a lot of people in this room who are close to Romy. And thank you for coming, and without further ado.
I am a black man who's an artist. You cannot separate me from that undeniable fact. The source of my work comes from my roots. My roots are embedded in my total black experience. What I do, think, feel, and how I respond emanates from the experience. It's silly for me to waste time on something outside my culture.
The acceptance of Bearden by all people, looking at his work, is a creative revelation, whether one is black or not. The universality of his work, as you talked about, that talks about life itself, starts with his experience as a black man, but his talent was so profound that it became a much larger statement.
I quickly said, Mr. Bearden, if you could just give me a number to reach you at where I could see what you're doing, it would save me a lifetime of mistakes, because I know I'm making hundreds of them on a daily basis. Much to my surprise, he takes the book, puts down his phone number, closes it, hands it back to me, says, call me in 2 weeks' time. We can discuss it at that time. Did not sleep for 2 weeks. I lost 6 pounds. I was a nervous wreck, so I called. 2 weeks later, a woman picks up the phone, whom I didn't know at that time. It was his wife, Nanette. And I could hear the muffledness. She's going, some guy here says his name is Teabo. All of a sudden, I hear Romer saying, the young man from the gallery. He remembered. It was unbelievable. Picks up the phone, have a brief conversation, then he gives me directions to his studio in Long Island City, explained to me which train to take and what stop to get off at, and said, but you're not going to see what I'm doing. I want you to bring a work of your own. For 6 years, I did this procedure 2 days a week, bringing a completed work. Rain, snow, sometimes he never showed up, but I persevered. I just stuck with it. And he started realizing his teachings to me were starting to pay off. They worked, and I just never gave up.
There was the literary dimension, and there was the musical dimension as well. Romy, before he became the Romer Bearden we know, used to, his mother had an apartment opposite the stage entrance to the Lafayette Theater. Romy was very young at the time, but he used to go to the Savoy and the Lafayette Theater, and he'd take in the battles of the bands, Chick Webb.
Right.
He heard all this, and he knew all this.
But it was always fun. It was always a recollection of his youth, of where he wanted to be. So we were never really forcing ourselves to do something of one particular pattern, like the Mecklenburg series, all week long or all month long. We would go from one to another and listen to stories, hear the heartbeat of where he came from, what he was doing.
My blackness and my life experience are full, rich, and satisfying. And he talks about that, and that is from the diary. There is a rootedness in Bearden that goes to the universality of mankind and his art.
One very important legacy that Romy left was the children. He loved kids, although they had none. he thought of his paintings as his children.
From the bowels of the ACA Gallery, the history of Romy Bearden speaks loud to the artist, the intellectual, and the thinker.
We came all the way from Massachusetts this morning to see Romy Bearden.
My name is Faith Ringgold, and I'm very excited to be here.
And finally, I saw in Art News that they were having this exhibition. I went online, I looked up everything. We caught the train this morning.
And actually, to be anywhere, sharing the history of African American art with such great artists as Romy Bearden.
Such a pleasure to be here tonight to hear the people that lived life with him talk about his work.
And I knew Romy as a little kid, so it was more than art. It was like overwhelming passion. And that's kind of what that's what kind of came across today.
It's just like being home, being here with all of these things. Gosh, I can't.
It's so inspiring.
I just love his work. And it gets better as the years go by.
There you go. Original pieces at their best.